Hello fancy managers, and welcome back to another video from myself, Will, and fantasyfootballhub.co.uk. And in this video, after a long time out, we're going to be talking about FPL. Yes, that's right, Premier League action does seem to be edging closer to a start date. Now I know there are more important things in the world going on right now than Premier League, and certainly fancy Premier League, but I'm still excited about FPL returning and looking forward to seeing a bit of Premier League action as well. So in this video, we're going to touch on when the Premier League is likely to restart, how long the season is going to last, and also going to touch on when the next season is likely to start again. All of that, implications for FPL. Also going to touch on my team and my potential thoughts around strategy towards the end of the season. Before we get in, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our partners at Footstock. Been playing Footstock religiously over the last few weeks. Loads of FPL managers are getting involved with it. Lots of our contributors are playing the game as well. So if you're interested in finding more about Footstock and a beginner's guide and find out what all the fuss is about, I'll leave a link in the description to that below. Let's get into the video. Okay, so the first thing is the Premier League does seem to be starting back up, and it looks like they're going for a June the 19th start date. So in less than a month's time, we're hopefully going to see some Premier League action. The season itself is looking like it's going to last around 7 weeks. We are still going to have some double game weeks, which is going to be likely because, teams like Manchester City, Arsenal, Sheffield, and Aston Villa, I think, still have an extra game to play. So those teams are almost certainly going to have a double game week at some point. We don't know when that will be. The other thing we don't know is the fixtures and the order of those fixtures. I think it's unlikely that they will remain in the same order that they were in, but we don't know that yet either. With that in mind, I think it is a bit difficult to recommend FPL picks, but nevertheless, I'm going to have a quick look at my team. Okay, so this is my team. As regular viewers will know, I did actually hit the wildcard button just before lockdown. Because I had already hit the wildcard button, I didn't really need to make too many transfers during lockdown, but you could make those transfers, and I did actually bring in Fernandes and Calvert-Lewin. We'll see how they go. I'm not completely set on my team, and as I said, it's difficult to know without those fixtures in place. Obviously not that keen on Otamendi. He's one that I potentially might look to move out. But the rest of the team I think is pretty solid. I think I've got probably the best keepers there. Leno, he's got a double game week at some point, so I'll be playing him during that double game week. And I've got Pope, I think, been one of the most consistent keepers the whole season. At the back, TA and Doherty, I think those are probably the best defenders to own during the end of the season, so I'm very happy with that. Obviously, I've got the Liverpool double up with Gomez there. I do quite like that Liverpool double up in defence. I think there is merit in Robertson and also Van Dijk. I think he's a good shout. Van Dijk, he's one of those which is definitely nailed on to play every game, and I think that's going to be important. Although saying that, Liverpool might do a little bit of rest and rotation once they have the league wrapped up. So that's another factor that you might want to consider. But, certainly for those first few games, you want those nailed on players. And I think Van Dijk is a good shout there. Otamendi, City do have the double game week, so that's kind of why I kept him in my team. I'm not convinced by him, but at least I got Bartley on the bench, who should come into the team if Otamendi is benched. In midfield, I got Salah, Fernandes, Salah, and De Bruyne. Very happy with that midfield. I think that is probably one of the best midfields you can get. And Cantwell, I think he's been the best budget midfielder the whole season. So I'm more than happy to have him on the bench and come in if there is a bit of rest and rotation in midfield. Up front, I've gone fairly cheap, but hopefully Wolves can continue the form that they showed towards the end of the regular season. Jimenez and Jota seemed in great form. Hopefully they can continue that. And Calvert-Lewin also seems great value. My slight concern there is I didn't have too much flexibility if I wanted to bring in a more expensive striker, but that's the price I paid for having a buffed up midfield. In terms of the season as a whole, it sounds like the Premier League will last 7 weeks or around that length. Try and cram all these games in quite a short space of time. It also sounds like teams are going to get more substitutes, so I do expect a lot of rest and rotation. I think that having a full playing squad is going to be key from an FPL perspective. It also sounds like next season's going to start up around the 13th of September. So we're going to try and cram all of these games in. There's going to be a relatively short break, and then the new season's going to start again. So it could be full-on FPL action for the foreseeable future. Otherwise, let me know in the comments your thoughts around Premier League restart. Are there any strategies we should be considering? Are there any players that you really think we need in our teams? As always, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and turn the notifications on. And if you did enjoy the video, please drop a like as well, because that does really help the channel out and encourages me to do more of these. Bye for now.